What's up, everybody? This is Colin Morrison. This is the first installment of Scummy Unplugged. This is where we're going to be doing articles and interviews with extreme sports athletes and everybody from top to bottom. We're going to be talking about sobriety and pretty much life of sobriety, how good life is. Pretty much I had it all at one time, being a professional freestyle motocross rider for over 15 years. I made it to the top. I lost everything due to drugs, led me to rehab. After that, I got my life back, and look where I am now. Life is good. You guys can have it too, and we're going to be talking about sobriety. And I guess let's just kick this off with our next guest. Let's do this.
Shane Bess has made it to the top of his game, racing professional motocross and supercross in his prime, and was a young prodigy, winning virtually everything over an 18-year career. Like Colin "Scummy" Morrison, the host of Scummy Unplugged, Shane was robbed of it all with his addiction to drugs, but now he's experiencing redemption through sobriety. Shane shares his story with Recovery Today magazine and his good friend Scummy. This is Scummy Unplugged.
You know what, man? I really think this is ironic. I think we'll get into it further in the interview, but when I first saw you, it was in rehab, and now we're on a set about recovery. Like it's so weird how life just changes when you get your life together. You're a big person in my life. Everything you've done, I feel that we kind of have the same background pretty much, you know, and we did a lot of the same stuff, and look where we're at today. So I guess let's just tell people who you are, and let's just kick it off with that for right now.
Awesome. My name's Shane Bess. I'm from Oxnard, California, and I once upon a time was a professional motocross racer, Supercross, arena cross, and motocross, and yeah, that's basically who I am. As a child, I grew up here in Oxnard and traveled the country as a top Suzuki amateur racer, and I was tagged to be the next big thing, and I had some good things going on, and life happened, you know.
I kind of got to cut you off because you're saying that, but you were a really big deal back then. I mean, we grew up, and since we were kids, our dreams was to become a professional motocross rider. For me, I was never, I don't think, that good. I went to the freestyle motocross route where it was more partying, but you were the top dude in racing. You were the Prodigy Child in the amateur scene. I mean, I remember seeing you cover of magazines, DVD. You were like a really, really big deal, man. You know what? I guess just talk about that, because I just feel you're not talking enough about that. You were a really big deal back in the day, man.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I know I was, you know. I guess when you're having like 8 Suzuki motorcycles shipped to the garage in crates, like, you're a pretty big deal, you know. Unlimited parts allowance. I was a factory Suzuki rider from 12 years old. Sorry. Yeah, I basically just won everything, you know, for years, and it was fun. It was a good deal. It was different. You sacrifice your childhood, and, you know, start waking up before you go to school, and you're running miles before you go to class. You know, you're not the ordinary student. You're living different. But it was good times. It was bad times.
I mean, but factory Suzuki, that's the top. You made it to the top at age 12. I mean, most 12-year-old kids, they're not doing that, man. Yeah. You're getting free dirt bikes. You're getting paid for major sponsors. Every day is like Christmas to you. Because I remember that, you know. Every day when the UPS man comes, I mean, they're dropping off thousands of dollars of product. I mean, that's a big deal at age 12, you know. So, yeah, it's just it was a big deal for you. Then you got into Supercross. How old were you when you raced first Supercross?
I believe I was 18 was my first year. No, I was 17.
And for people out there that don't know much about, you know, motocross, Supercross is what all the riders dream to achieve, you know. Once you kind of, I think, made it to Supercross, you kind of made it. So did you have any goals once you got to Supercross? Did you want to become champion? You know, once you made it there, what were the next goals for you, I guess?
When I got to Supercross, it happened so fast that I wasn't very good at goal setting yet, so I kind of got lost in like the nerves and the maturity, and the first year was pretty brutal. under the big tent, under the lights. I had big names as my teammates. You know, you're in the button-up shirt. You're going to classes to learn how to talk in front of cameras, and it was just like, what's going on? Like, I know how to ride dirt bikes, and I know how to train, and I know how to race. That's what I know how to do. And now we're doing all this other stuff, and there's pressure, and you're showing up to time practices at a certain time and testing, and it was just like so much at once. And then throw in I'm having my idols pass me in practice, and I'm like, oh, well, I gotta be nice to this dude. Like, I looked up to this guy for my whole life. Like, I'm not gonna run it in hard on this guy, you know. And then another idol passed me by, and I'm like, just giving everybody so much respect. And I'm just getting bounced around out there like a pinball. I'm not getting the starts I'm used to. I'm getting tired, and it was just like, whoa. And my goals were just to make it through the race, survive it. You know, I didn't even have no result-based goals, nothing. I just wanted to walk away from the track every weekend, and unfortunately that didn't happen very often. I was riding through concussions. I was riding through different injuries all the time. I was never comfortable, never got my confidence going, you know. And so I was one and done. I had made it to the big tent, the big rig, and after that first year, I was so banged up all year, they let me go. And it was a shame because the second year I matured a lot. I started having no respect for anybody.
This was mainly because of injuries and stuff?
Yeah,
I think that's where, I'm not going to cut you out, but I think that's one of the big deal why we're doing this Scummy Unplugged, because I feel in the extreme sports world, there's not enough attention to people that get sucked in to addiction. You know, from such a young age, you're breaking bones and getting fed pain pills, and not many kids are used to that. Yeah, I'm sure your normal kid might get hurt there, maybe go to the doctor, but when you're riding motocross for a living, you're always breaking bones, you're always getting fed pain pills. I know for me, I mean, that was I think a gateway, and I think for you making it to the top, just the lights are on you, you know, you're like a star. Just, I think it's more accepted. I don't know, that's at least for me, but how did drugs kind of come into your life? Because I know it's, for me, it started with pain pills, breaking bones, kind of your same story, but how did that happen?
Same story, dude. And I look back at it, and it's kind of like, well, duh, you know, like I started breaking bones when I was 8 years old, and I'm not sure if it was the first time I broke a bone, but I know by the time I was 10, I already had snapped a couple bones. And I remember doctor's orders, my mom giving me the Viking. I remember seeing it on the bottle for years, you know, 13, 14, 15. I mean, I broke in somewhere in between 25 and 35 bones. Like, I've snapped a bunch of stuff just like you have and everyone else has. And so the name Vicodin was similar to the name Tylenol to me, you know, by the time I turned 18, and now I'm the one administering the pills. And I'm stressed out because I can't race next weekend, and this is my livelihood, and I take a couple and it makes me fuzzy, and it makes me feel okay to be in that moment, you know. And just from doing it all those years, the name Vicodin was, I didn't know it was even a drug. I just knew this is what you take when you're hurt, and take a couple more and it makes you feel good and forget about it. And that was the gateway, you know. That was it led to abuse. It was so easy just to abuse it because it wasn't a big deal, you know.
I'm trying to think like how like you and me are different from normal people, because I mean, when I would break a bone and I would get prescribed Vicodin, I love the feeling, man. When you pop a couple Vicodin, you're chilling on the couch. You know, down the road, it got to the point I'd be pumped to get hurt almost. Just like, well, all right, well, now I get an excuse not to ride. I get pills, and like I'm allowed to take them, and you know, it's just so relevant in our sport. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I think there's so much addiction in our sport and extreme sports, and everybody really doesn't like to talk about it. You know, I think you and me are very open from what we did and how I feel I ruined my career. You know, I feel kind of like you ruined your career too from drugs. You know, the drugs took our careers away. You know, I know, like I said, when you were a kid, you were on top, and then when you made it to the top, you know, I think drugs really got in the way, man. Mm-hmm. You know, along with me, you, and how did drugs really get in the way of your riding and your Supercross? Because, you know, you were it at 12 years old. Factory, you were going to the top. So how did the drugs get in the way of that, I guess? Was it the pain pills or was it other things?
It became bigger than the pain pills, but like you said, I remember people being scared to get hurt, and I'm like, I don't even feel the fear, because the worst that's going to happen is I'm going to go to the emergency room, I'm going to get loaded, you know, like it wasn't a big deal. But the pain pills, they were always there. I didn't start abusing them until after a couple years. I kind of abused them. I still was holding it together, real focused, and when I was hurt, I would abuse them a little bit, and then I'd get back on the horse and get back focused. I quit racing for a year, and I went out and experienced life for the first time.
How old were you?
I believe, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I think I was like 19 coming into 20.
Weren't you racing Supercross at that time?
I had 2 years in Supercross, and then I quit after the second year.
You quit because of the drugs, or because you just
injuries.
wanted to take?
I had like 3 concussions in a row, like boom, boom, boom. I had a couple injuries, and I was just like, I don't even want to do this no more, you know?
What did your sponsors think about that?
I didn't even care. It was like, I did it later, you know? And
what were you doing for money? I mean, that's like, that's the biggest deal, because for one thing, I think dirt bike riders are so jacked up just because like the injuries, like you name any dirt bike rider and their injury list, or like most people just, they trip. They're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, and that's normal for everybody. But when you do it professionally, that's all you know. From 12 years old, you only knew motocross. That was it. So, I mean, did you ever think of a life after motocross, I guess is what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. When you quit riding, what were you going to do to experience life? Did you have a goal? Like
party hard.
So that's what I mean. It led into partying so bad where I'm over riding, I'm just going to do this.
Just I know how to do this, and I know how to do this, you know? And some side business stuff that is probably not legal, and that became like the main deal.
The main deal. I think we know what you're talking about, but that led into
trouble, and then I got my head on straight, and I wanted to do it and do it right, and I didn't like the life at all. It was just a heavy weight in my shoulders to live like that. So before I got too far into any like serious drug use, I was doing the cocaine and the ecstasy and the heavy drinking and
then
stuff.
You started selling the stuff
and just completely loving the lifestyle, you know.
So pretty much like everything motocross taught you, because motocross is such a family sport, you know, no party, no drugs, you know, you're a factory rider. Pretty much everything what we weren't taught, you went down the complete different direction.
Yep.
From pretty much starting to break bones, and you went down that direction, and then there's no hope, you know, and what are you gonna do, go clean windows? So you thought it was easy selling drugs, I'm gonna make money doing this. So that was like your new career, you know. And what did people say? Did the industry know? Because this is a time, like, I just knew your name, you were the top dude, you know. I'd see you on TV every weekend, but I know you disappeared. I don't really know the whole story. I mean, what did people think? You know, Shane Bess, he was racing, where is he? You know, what happened?
They'd rip me apart, you know, they'd drag my name through the dirt, but it didn't matter to me, you know. I always had that attitude of, who are you?
Yeah.
You don't know, and you haven't been what I've been through, so I never really cared too much about that, but there became a point when I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, all right, bro, like, this is out of control, like, you know, you're just moving from this to this, and you don't care, and no one controls you, and you run your own life, but like, be real with yourself, you know. And I didn't like what I seen.
How deep did it get? Heroin? I mean,
at this time it wasn't too deep. Like I said, just the basic stuff. I mean, maybe it's pretty deep for the average person.
Yeah, we're talking basic. You're talking ecstasy, snorting coke, pills. That's pretty gnarly. I think for an addict, not a big deal.
Not a big deal to me, but for
anybody else, like that dude's really jacked up.
Yeah.
I get it, you know. It's weird, I guess.
For 3 days driving around, you know.
How addicts think, you know. I think, that was like everyday deal, but for a normal dude, that's crazy. That's like insanity, dude. So your life. Did you start losing everything at that time?
At that time, I started Just myself, but I wasn't losing everything. I came back to racing, and I had some of my best years in arena cross.
How do you come back from riding, getting addicted to drugs, stop riding, start selling drugs to make money because, you know, what else are we going to do? And then you just get back into racing. Were you high riding?
No, complete clean program.
So you got sober?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't call it sobriety. I didn't even know what sobriety was at that time. I just knew.
But you weren't drinking?
Nope, just
nothing?
Just training.
Wow.
Luckily, I had someone that believed in me and gave me a good opportunity. I didn't want to let him down, and we did it right, and we had fun, and I had the best 2 years of racing in my life. And that's when tragedy struck. I had a girlfriend at the time who passed away. She wasn't a drug user. She car accident, and depression. I never heard of depression. I didn't know what that word meant, and that one hit me in the chin and knocked me out. And
I've never brought this up. I've known you a long time, but I don't really know. That's where I you know, we don't even have to talk about it. But is that what led you back into drugs?
That was my trigger. Yeah,
I remember you. Were you champ? Did you get a championship in arena cross?
I lost by a few points. I had an incredible comeback.
You know, we're talking motocross. I know what you're talking about. People out there, this is like, you made it back to the top.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
arena cross, almost champion. You like fully got your life back. I still don't get it how you just stop using altogether and like get back into riding,
It's
make
in
it
the mind,
to the top.
bro. It's in the mind.
It is. I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do that. But dude, so your girlfriend died?
Yeah, my girlfriend
In
died.
a car accident?
With symptoms from the car accident years and years earlier. She had a valve plugged from being crushed in the accident.
Oh, Jesus.
She couldn't breathe. She thought it was asthma. They induced her in Tacoma to go in and fix it.
And that's when you were with her?
And that's when I was with her, and they weren't able to bring her back. So that took me off my feet for sure.
I didn't even know that, man. You know, I think motocross and that lifestyle, when you're in that bubble, that's all you think is motocross. You know, you live, breathe, just everything's motocross. I think everything's not fairy tale, whatever, but life is so much bigger. You know, now that we're out of that and like just life, just all the curveballs and the jacked up things that can happen, you know, I mean, death is gnarly, man. That's a big deal. I've had stuff in my life like that, but I mean, a girlfriend, for you to see her go through that, I don't even know how hard that was, man. So what? I mean,
It was
sorry
heavy.
for your loss. After she passed away, what happened? Did you just start? I'm over dirt bikes, or? And
No,
I'm telling you, I
no,
don't even
no,
know this story.
It wasn't. That's the thing too. That's what was difficult too. I was a motocross racer, and you know, I knew how to train and eat right and ride dirt bikes and produce results. I didn't know a lot about life. You know, I was homeschooled. I got pulled out of school when I was in 9th grade. You know, socially, I wasn't very developed. I just was kind of a quiet kid. And
you were homeschooled because you were the top
for motocross,
prodigy.
right?
That's another thing people need to know. You know, you weren't living a normal life.
No, not at all.
Getting paid at a very young age, you know, homeschooled, traveling every single week to different races.
Yeah.
You had obligations from sponsors where you had to show results
Mm-hmm.
or you're kicked off. You're not getting paid. So it's literally at that point, like, motocross is your life and it's your job at
It's a
age
job.
12.
Yeah, it's a job for sure. And yeah, so life, I didn't know much about life or how to handle situations, you know, and when that happened, then I would never blame that for my bad decisions, but I got going again on the party train. It wasn't a party, it was like a somber crying yourself to sleep, you know. I don't know why it affected me so bad, but it did. And then
You're just doing drugs just to numb the pain, pretty much.
yeah, and
Not
then
that you want to party, but
and it was expensive, you know. So I had been around a place you probably didn't want to be around, and I had seen someone use a needle, and he's like, it's cheaper, it's more powerful.
what were you doing before that? Just pills?
Just I started snorting heroin at this time. I was doing oxys and stuff, but it was becoming expensive, and someone introduced me to heroin. I started snorting, smoking heroin, and then I seen someone use a needle, and I was like, this is extreme, like I want to do this shit, like you know. So
Yeah.
we went down that route, and that's when.
What happened like the first time you shot up? Because I ruined my life on heroin. I never snorting oxys, roxys, smoking a gram of heroin a day, and I hate saying that word, man. I think just wasn't raised that way, and just to say the word heroin so heavy, but it's just like Vicodin, man. It's not, I don't know, it's not, I don't know even what to say about that, but
it was ugly, man.
it was very ugly.
It was
you know,
ugly,
it's like
yeah.
the gnarliest thing ever. But what'd you do when you shot, when you put a needle in your arm? Did you think like, just thought back, I was a top motocross dude, did you ever think you would get to that level?
It wasn't even motocross I didn't think of, you know. It just was like so many emotions, and I just was stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
I was stuck in a dark place. And the thing, when I had got like 6 months down the road from that, I realized that I wasn't ever going to get back to dirt bikes. I had not only just lost my girl.
You went down a road where you can't return.
I'm so far down. Yeah, I'm like, and then so I lost my first love, which was motocross, and then my girl who I loved, and that was just drug me even deeper into the bottom of the abyss. Once I realized that, that's what propelled me into the next 5 years of hardcore drug use and anything and everything.
And that was your new relationship. That was your new love.
It was, and it was more of a depression. I had given up. I had lost all that. So now.
How was it around with your parents and family? Did they know? I mean, of course, they knew, but how was it? I mean, you were the top, and then he's gone.
I had a bad attitude, man. I didn't care what people think, and
No.
I would show up to birthday parties with blood on my collar from shooting up in my neck, and you know, my grandparents and stuff seeing that, and I was raised right. I was a good kid, and here I am.
My heart's pounding, dude. Just
living
thinking,
like that, you know.
Just thinking how dark shit can get, man. It's heavy. I mean, that's gnarly. And just I can relate to that, man. Just not caring. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Just fuck everybody. Don't care.
Don't care.
So I mean, we don't have to get into war stories, but when you're showing up to parties with blood on your shirt from you putting a needle, shooting up heroin in your neck, I mean, did you get in trouble with the law at that time? Because I think we know there is no success stories of a professional drug addict or dealer. There's just not. So I mean, what road did that take you down when you got to that level and you knew your passion was gone, man? Like I grew up, motocross was the love. It's gone. Have no hope for life. I'm over it. Drug is my new chick. It's my new lover. Where did that take you? You know, I mean, did you get in trouble with the law, I guess?
I got real lucky there. I had been arrested a bunch of times, always for mostly the same thing, being under the influence, or not having a license, always just getting my hands slapped. I had ran into a couple things that were major trouble, and I got real lucky that they didn't show up to court to you know, go through with saying what I did. You know, I guess the people I did it to let me slide.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like just that story alone. This is a story about you, but I really feel, we're not going to get religious, but dude, something had a plan for us, dude. Mm-hmm. My third DUI, I passed out in my truck and I ran into 7 cars, and the person I finally hit had a kid in her car, and I hate to tell this story, man, because I feel like I should still be in jail. I did not hurt anybody. But when I went to court, that person, she showed up the first time, and we were going to arraignment, whatever the next jury, whatever you call it, and she did not show up for some reason. She knew me. She had me by the balls. She could have sued me, everything. She didn't show up. I got out of that. You got out of that. Like, just this, I don't know. I just feel like, dude, things are meant to be, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Lucky.
weird. I think you and me talk about that. It's just weird how things happen. Like, you escape. Like, you should be dead. We're going to get further into why I think we're supposed to be here telling these stories.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, you escape death. You escape not killing anybody, not killing yourself. Did you ever OD from any of this stuff? Any like really dark stuff?
Yeah, I got 3-4 ambulance rides.
It's funny, like addicts.
Yeah.
Look at you, how
Yeah.
you're talking like it's just no big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
you OD'd
Yeah,
4
OD'd.
times going to the hospital, pretty much trying to bring you to life, and it's
Yeah.
just an everyday thing. It's disgusting how addicts, how we live, man. It's normal people watching. I like to say normal, whatever they look, and they're like, what the fuck? These people are jacked up.
Yeah.
And I just get it the way you're talking right now. It's just not a big deal.
It's just
4 times ambulance ride, OD, just went a little too big that night.
just cruising
whatever.
around in the ambulance. you
Yeah,
know?
just cruising.
Yeah. That's what it is, man.
Okay, so I guess we're just taking it from there. You pretty much escaped a lot of jail time. Thank God you didn't kill anybody. Along with me, we both escaped not killing ourselves. I don't know how we're even here. What was it for you? What made you want to like turn it around? Did you know what sobriety was? I didn't know what sobriety was. I never even like really thought about that word. What was it for you? What made you change, I guess? Or want to change? Did you have to change from the court? What was it?
Yeah, I got a sentence to like a drug court and had to complete a program. So
So it was mainly from the start, from the court. You had to
court, I got introduced to the program. I got introduced to meetings. I was going high, but I still was going and, putting my 2 cents in and being loaded. But
So you weren't ready.
I wasn't ready, but I was there. I was getting the signature.
I was going to AA, snorting Roxy's
Yeah.
and the thing, and I was actually going home bragging like, dude, I went to
meetings.
AA's, guys. I'm doing really good. I'd go to the pipe store to go get the fake piss, go do my. It's just disgusting. Like we're talking. I'm just saying it like this to like just express to people how
perspective on it. Yeah.
gnarly. And you don't think about that at a young age when you take your first Vicodin, where it can lead you, or you pick up your first beer at a high school party, just how it can just lead you towards the gnarliest path, man. But so you had to go to AA's.
It was a game, man. It was like the new focus. It was like how to beat the system. Like,
How to beat the system.
I'm gonna keep doing this, and you're not gonna catch me. Like I didn't care what I looked like, and I didn't care like the type of friends I had, and like the low life I was being, but like you can't get me, I'm slick, and it was fun, it was a good time. It got me through. It got me through the day. It was something to enjoy. But yeah, it became like expensive, and then it became like stressful. Like now local PD like know who I am, and like I'm getting stopped for anything anytime they see me. I'm getting jammed up all the time. I'm like not doing any big time, but I'm always going to jail and kicking for 4 days to the weekend and see the judge, go complete a program, Shane. Like, yeah, cool, bro, I'll do that,
And kicking heroin or opiates in jail, I'd rather shoot myself straight in the leg.
Yeah.
If you had to go through that again, for people that don't understand, it's the worst thing ever. The pain, you just have no motivation. It hurts to do anything. I mean, the list goes on. It's so bad. We know what we're talking about. I don't even know how to express it to other people, but I'd literally rather shoot myself than have to withdraw from opiates again. So I guess we could just fast forward. So let's just kind of dive into, I went to rehab after I told my story about how I passed out in my truck. I should have killed somebody. They didn't show up to jail. They didn't show up the jury. I got out of that third DUI. Cried to my dad. I went to rehab. I remember my first day in rehab, laying in bed, and losing everything. You had everything at one time. I had everything at one time. Went into rehab. I know your story, the same thing, with nothing to our name. Nothing. We were on top. From kids, we dreamt about becoming professional motocross riders. We did it. We did our goal. The first night in rehab, I had like 3 t-shirts to my name. Just thinking, laying in there, like, this is it. This is what you see on like intervention. Like, I never would have thought I'm that guy, and I'm in rehab. So my story, it's not about me, but my life opened up, man. I got sober. In there, I realized for the first decade, I've never been sober one day. For the first 7 days, I was clean. I was waking up, seeing the sun, seeing the grass, so green, the colors, smelling everything, just being happy,
Yeah.
eating food. I think I gained like 25 pounds in the first week. And I'm talking about Kepper House. And I think I was in it for about 25 days. So pumped to be there. So amped on sobriety, man. My whole life changed around. And then I remember I was going to the gym in our rehab. And I remember the counselor brought you in. And I remember the look at your face when you saw me. And I saw you. I'm like, dude, Shane Bess, like, what are you doing here? What happened? And I remember you looked like you were probably the way I looked like the first day. You looked like you were about to die, man. Just, you looked homeless. And I remember how pumped you were that I was there. Like, we knew, like, you know, motocross riders have a bond, you know. We know what it's like. We got that same passion, that love, and it was rad knowing you were there. And so what led you there? You know, and it's just weird. I don't think we somehow were at the same rehab.
Yeah.
Kepper House in Ventura, place that saved my life. But yeah, I was on my way out and you were on your way in. What got you there, I guess?
Yeah, I kind of cheated my way through those programs that I got sentenced to, and then I actually wanted to get clean. I was like, okay, this is
a serious deal. You wanted.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to go there. Yeah, I wanted to be done. My father had a connection over there. I took it, and before this, what made me want to go was my nephew. I think he maybe was 7 or something at the time. 7. And I had done it white knuckle on my own at home a few times. And this time I had like almost a month, and went to Christmas Eve, said hi to everybody, gave hugs. Everyone, oh, you look good, Shane, you know,
yeah.
and seen the family. And then that night I went out with an old girlfriend and got a hotel room and missed Christmas morning with my nephews, and I didn't see it. I stayed out for a few days. I came back. I seen my my oldest nephew, and he told me like, "Why did you miss Christmas?" And like, he said it like such a grown man, and like just looked me dead straight in the eyes and was so serious. And no one was around. It wasn't like he was coached to do it. He just.
How old was he?
He was like 7 or 8 or something like that, and he just hit me, and I'm like, wait a minute, like. This little dude is like straight stepping up to me and like really like, why would you do that? We waited all day for you to wait, open presents. Like, I'm like their role model, you know, like I'm their hero.
Yeah.
Like I'm their besides Santa Claus, I'm probably their favorite person in the world, you know.
Go back, you were 30 days sober, you go out with your girl, and what would you do? Just shoot up
Heroin, yeah, got everything, you
Went
know.
on a
real quick
one.
bender, yeah, just as geeked out as I could get. And yeah, so he said that to me, and I was like, all right, dude. Like,
this is it.
This is game time. Like, I'm tired of this, and I took it on as my new focus. You know, like motocross, like the partying. Like, I was like, I'm gonna put everything I ever learned about life and how to be a winner into this, and I'm going to do it. And I felt the change in my mindset.
You knew what sobriety was, but you weren't doing it.
I wasn't
this
about
time.
It. Yeah, before I was like, these guys are a bunch of tree huggers, sitting around, drinking coffee, crying about your problems, like, and I'm all judgmental. I'm like, you look like you're a gangbanger. You look like, and you guys really are gonna sit and cry and tell a problem. Like,
it just
you guys,
sounds so
you
fake.
Guys, yeah,
Everybody's
dude.
talking about this magical shit with sobriety. Oh, I got my life back. And I remember, I'm like, yeah, I'd go in, snort a pill. Sober's rad. We're not sober. We think we're sober, but and you hear all this magical stuff these people from AA and the NA are saying, thinking it's a joke. And I think we know now that everything they're saying is 110% accurate.
Just got to be open-minded and hear it, you know. And I had the bad attitude and the judgmental attitude.
So you went into Kepper House, and so I guess we're starting to where you saw me. What happened when you saw me, and what you were done?
Yeah, I freaking crawled my way in there. I made it to the door, and literally walking up that driveway with like no one to hold on to. Like, I got to the door, and then our counselor had mentioned you were there, and I grew up at the same tracks as you. We had never like formally hung out or knew, but you were always a name. I was always a name, and I was like, really, like, that's cool, because I didn't believe in the people I was around. Like, I don't really relate to the gangbanger or to the street riffraff. Like, to me, I judge them. I'm like, okay, bros, like, you guys don't party as hard as me. Like, you guys don't do as much drugs as me. I know you guys don't, you know?
no.
And I heard you were there, and I'm like, all right, a rock star's here. Like, if he could do it, I could do it, because I know he partied,
That
you know?
mentality, I mean, dude,
Yeah.
breaking bones,
Yeah.
partying, like, they don't know. Like,
They
dude,
don't know.
we live a gnarly lifestyle, man, and I get it. I can go into so deep about this, but I was just as pumped as you were, man. How was it for you the first couple days there?
It was rough, bro, but I had something to believe in, and you were put on my path, and it kept me there, because I'm like, okay, he's here, he did it, he's happy. Like, you got me all pumped up, enough to get through Detox.
I remember that, dude. I totally remember through Detox.
I asked you for some Sour Patch Kids. You brought me cheese and crackers.
I remember
kind of the same thing, but not really.
You were in Detox, and we were in, I think, Sober Living, and we weren't allowed to talk to you. But me and Brian Moeller, our good buddy, we would sneak over to check on you. I remember you looked like you were dying every day, but it's just the sickness, just getting all that shit out of your system, and we were pumped you were there, man. And it was so gnarly. I remember going to visit you, and you were the strongest dude ever, man. I just remember sweating, just you wanting to die, but you're like, I got this, and you pulled out of it. It's crazy seeing somebody that low and then just kind of seeing you grow again, man, because I saw the process, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That was a tough kick. I was, at the end, my drug of choice wasn't heroin or meth. It was both at the same time, and I wouldn't do one without the other. It was like, I gotta wait till I get this, and I mix my little batch, and that's what I was strung out on. So it was like, the last kick was the last kick.
Ugh.
It was rough, but I got through it, and opened my mind. I just, like, I'd never been a follower, and I heard follow the herd in there, and I was like, what? Follow the herd? That's what I don't do. And then I'm like, well, yeah, you don't do that, so look where you're at. Like, just go conform and follow the herd. So I just, like, was quiet, and I just would go to the classes, and I just started trying to buy in, and I met cool people, you know, and
I think ego is, like, for me, I think that's the biggest thing that
it
can really change the whole way if you want to stay sober and you want to get sober, and how you approach getting sober is letting your ego down. Because if you go in there, I remember seeing so many people, they just thought they were so rad, tough going in there. I got this. Every single one of those dudes didn't make it. And I think you were on the same level, dude. Just drop your ego 100%, because we can't do this. We tried it. Let's listen to the people, those people that we were talking shit about. Let's listen to them. I remember I was on that same path, man. Just ego's gone, and let's actually listen to what they have to say. And I know I remember seeing you at meetings, and you were all ears and just doing everything they taught us. And look where we're at now. It's weird how that works, but you know, you could fast forward through rehab. I mean, we can go on and on about this. I saw you reborn again. Same thing with me. We have our lives again, dude. Just everything. I mean, it's hard for me to spit out words just how rad life is. Everything. Screw motocross, dude. That was like, it was cool. Life is ahead of us. Anything, you know. We got through that. I felt like waking up in the morning, just going on a walk or running, that was such a big deal. That was bigger than jumping in front of thousands, like in a third world country, getting paid a lot of money, doing it sober, you know. Was that like, was it your same deal? Did you feel that?
It wasn't as peachy for me.
Okay.
I felt like
I've never been sober before that, but I guess you had like a couple
little bits, but I still, like, reality hit for me. So I was stoked, but it was so much weight on my shoulders. Like, it was easier to be high at times, I thought, because I didn't care. But, like, then I had all this reality hit me and just slam me in the face. And it's like, okay, you're 27, 28 years old now, dude. Like, you literally just wasted 5.5 years. Yeah, I was grateful to be alive, and I was trying to learn, choose gratefulness and stuff. But it's kind of hard to ignore, like, the fact that I'm turning on TV and seeing good friends of mine that I'm super pumped on, but they're stacking millions in the bank, and I'm over here off Ventura Avenue living in a room with another dude.
And when you're in rehab, before you got to rehab, all you're doing is piling on problems upon problems. I remember I'd get bills, and I thought the good philosophy is when you get a bill, just throw it in the mail. You don't got to pay nothing. I did that for like a year, and I piled on so much shit, and I think along with you. So I think, you know, out of rehab, I remember same story pretty much. You get out of rehab, you're sober, but now it's time to face the music.
Yeah.
You got all these problems. It took me 3 years to start paying off stuff, start making people believe I'm sober.
Yeah.
You too? I mean,
Me too, man. But I had my dad in my corner.
so did everybody know this was for real? This time?
No one really bought into it too fast, but
How long did it take?
it took years for some. I still maybe it's just in my head, but I think everyone's on the Shane train now. But
Everybody.
I remember the first few years, like I could just tell everyone was waiting for me to fall off. I was waiting for myself to fall off. I didn't blame nobody, but luckily my dad was there for me, and he wasn't there to help me like in many ways except support and like keep giving me a push. And he's like, well, you're gonna have to, you know, you got $10,000 in court fees. Like you're gonna have to start somewhere. You got $8,000 in just on tickets. You know, you're gonna have to start somewhere. And I just started following through. And you know, homeless court actually wiped off I got to get my license back. They like $8,000 gone. I was like, whoa, you know, I had owed the IRS $30,000 from the last year I raced, you know, and I ended up filing and doing my stuff, like just following through and putting in and taking action, and I just started knocking things out, and then I was just dumping pressure off my shoulders, you know.
I think we have to tell people that if they want to get sober, it doesn't happen overnight.
It does not happen overnight.
And that's what a lot of people tell me. You know, they see my life, I'm sure your life, you know, if they're struggling like where we're at, I want that life. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to put work into it. And I think a lot of people, right when they come out of rehab, a lot of people fall off right away because they want that satisfaction. But all these little magical stories you hear in AA and stuff like that, I don't know how to say it, but it's true. Just like what you said. I remember going to court a couple times. I told people I went to rehab. The judge wiped off like same story you said. She just wiped it off. Like just little miracles starting to happen in my life. So, you know, we could talk about this the same. We made it to the top. We're about 30 years old. We're in rehab. That's all we knew, how to ride a motorcycle since we were 16. We dropped out of school, did homeschooling. I dropped out of school to ride dirt bikes. We're 30 years old when all our friends are to the top, have families. We just got out of rehab. We're sober, but now we have to get our life. We got to do this, you know, and I still think right now, like how much harder we have to work to get where we're at. Because we pretty much, I look at it, I was reborn again 5 years ago. Started everything over, same thing with you. But it does happen. That's what I'm trying to tell people. I know that's what you're trying to tell people too. You'll get everything back in weird ways. I mean, I wish we had the answer to tell people, but it just happens. If you make sobriety number one, weird miracles happen, dude. You hear it all the time. And I guess I just want to tell people like what you're doing now. I think it's like such an amazing story. I'm just going to dive into it. How you, not only a couple years ago, you're walking into parties with blood on your white shirt from shooting a needle in your neck, but now you're going to college to become a drug counselor to give back. That alone means more to me than if you didn't do what you did and you made it to the top and became a champion. Because I feel like telling our stories and being open, there are people out there with our same stories and they don't know that there's a way out. They're probably looking at us right now like, holy shit, dude, like I've done that too, and look where these guys, it can happen, people.
It can happen, yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight, but tell people what you're doing now, man. You're going to college to become a drug counselor and work in the that's amazing, dude. That's why you're my hero. I tell you that all the time, how proud I am of you, but get into that, dude. You're out of rehab, start getting your shit together, and where are you today, I guess?
Right now, I'm on my last stretch, my last math class before I am college graduate at Oxnard College, and I plan on continuing school
I think we need to pick the energy up a little bit because I see your Instagram videos, dude. You're like studying.
Yeah.
Dude, all day long. I see you like
Grinding,
Instagram videos
bro.
till like 2 a.m. I'm grinding math class. I got to pass, and you're just as pumped on that than
It's gnarly.
winning a race. Dude, I got a math class tomorrow,
love
but
it.
you're doing
Yeah.
this for the final goal. What's your final goal?
Alcohol and drug counselor and be in the field and be able to help somebody. I remember when I was in rehab, I didn't know what it was to do with life, and I remember like out of the handful of counselors, I had the attitude of fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You guys didn't do what I did, but you and you, I relate with, like, and I'll listen to you and you. But you guys tell me the same thing. You guys could get out of here.
I feel personally
you know?
to you, you're gonna save more people than the typical dare cop or like this old dude saying, "Don't do drugs, kids," because that's the kind of dude. Like, if he tells me, I'm gonna want to do drugs because
Yeah.
I just don't want to be like you. But like, you're a dude that's been there. I've been there. We're telling it how it is. You know, you can hate us or love us, but
Yeah.
I think kids are gonna listen to you, man, and
But try.
you're gonna save a lot of lives, man. So you're
Yeah,
going to college. Is that your final goal?
that's what I did. I got clean and I had my bicycle and I went and signed up to school and I threw the phone away. I didn't do friends or nothing for a year and a half. I just went to class and I just went to the gym and I
Getting
just
your
started
shit back.
rebuilding, you know, and I started having friends. Like, my socializing was at school, my grandma, my aunt, and my nephews, and I just like kept myself in a bubble for a while. I was scared of to hang out with people or
Yeah.
chicks or anything. I would always go out, and yeah, I set the goal, and I just been knocking classes out for 3.5 years, and I'm at the point now where I had to take my state license test, and I have this one math class, and then I'll be looking to build my resume, get in the field, and then I plan on continuing school. It's a great lifestyle. It's kept me clean. It keeps me focused, and I loved it. You know, it's a good time.
It's just
It's kind of a battle too.
It is a battle, but
you know?
it's an amazing story, and I think really with this, my little thing I'm doing with this magazine is we gotta help others, and just what you said about you're riding your bicycle to the gym, because out of rehab, and this is where the ego thing comes in.
It was rough, bro.
I had to borrow my buddy's mountain bike. I had to have my chick drive me because we're far away. I had to ride my mountain bike to go print T-shirts. I'm used to signing autographs,
Truck
jumping in
with the
front of
wheels,
thousands, making money for riding my bike, traveling the world and telling people to F you, and people like pumped. And now I'm riding a bicycle to go print shirts for $9 an hour, and you're riding your bike to go to the gym to like, you don't know what, but it's all, you put your ego to the side and you just do it, put a smile on your face, and people out there that shit's gonna come back, and you just have to make sobriety #1. You made it sobriety #1. You're back on top. Got a chick. You got a nice vehicle outside. You have a career. You're becoming a drug counselor. Look at where we're at now. Do you remember? I mean, like, let's just pretend the cameras aren't on us, dude. I remember we saw each other at rehab together.
Yeah.
Look where we're at now. We're doing an interview together, talking to others to try and get sober.
Yeah,
It's weird how
that's
things work,
crazy.
man. But
Yeah, it's cool.
I totally praise you, man. I guess we can almost end it with that, dude. I just, you know, I'm really thankful for this here too, for Recovery Today magazine, for an outlet for people to just look, you know, be pumped on sobriety, have something to get. I just remember when I was trying to get sober, I had nothing like, you know, this magazine or just seeing people like us talking about sobriety and I guess AA and stuff, but there's just not enough outlets out there. You know, America, it's the biggest epidemic in the world, and I don't think there's enough people doing stuff about it. So I'm pumped you're with me on the front lines,
Thank
you
you.
know, telling our story, fighting the good fight, man.
Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it,
Anybody
man.
can
I
do it.
mean, we could talk war stories, and I don't think people would even believe us that we're still here. But, you know, I guess just the moral of the story is put your ego down. You can change your life no matter what. It's not going to happen overnight, all right? You're not going to just go to rehab, come out, have a chick, house, money. It's going to take time, but you can do it. I mean, I think we're living proof. And, dude, I'm so proud of you and so proud to call you a friend, and I'm just pumped to see where you and me go in the future, man. And
Awesome.
I'm really pumped that this is the first episode in my little deal I got going on, dude. And I don't know. I got a lot of respect for you, man.
Nice.
And I'm
Thank you,
proud of you, buddy. So
Awesome.
that was an honor. That was something special, you guys. My first interview for Scummy Unplugged. I'm so excited for the future and more guests I got coming in and just spreading the word about sobriety, you guys. It doesn't happen overnight. Making sobriety #1, you'll get your life back. Shane is a perfect example. So let's continue this, you guys. Let's look out for more articles. Recovery Today magazine. Let's do this. There's a lot more to come. Thank you, guys.